Hey guys! Hey guys, Kate here. Today I want to bust some myths around fertility. There's a lot of sort of false knowledge out there that is not helpful if you are trying to get pregnant. So we're going to bust some of those myths and talk about what's really going on. So one of those things is that all women ovulate around day 14. And most women do ovulate in that area of day 14, but day 14 is sort of like this medical average that's often talked about, but it's not necessarily when you are ovulating. So it's really important to know what your body is doing and when your most fertile days are. So some women, might ovulate on day 12, some might not ovulate until day 16. If you have a really long cycle, it might be even later. But day 14 is not the day for everyone. So if you are timing things around this sort of average, I would start tracking your cycle so that you know exactly when you are ovulating. And the best way to do that is to take your basal body temperature every morning to keep track of your cervical fluid so that you know what's happening in your body and you know when your most fertile days are. Ovulation predictor kits can be helpful, but they're not always 100% accurate. What ovulation predictor kits measure is a surge in luteinizing hormone, which is the hormone your body releases right before ovulation that tells your ovaries to release that egg. But sometimes your body has a few false starts. It might kind of surge that luteinizing hormone. Your body might try to ovulate, but not. And then you might do that again later and actually ovulate. So an ovulation predictor kit is just telling you when that hormone is surging, which doesn't necessarily guarantee that you will ovulate. So I think tracking your cycle is really the best way to know when you ovulate. Another myth that's kind of related to that is this idea of the 28-day cycle. Most women, don't have an exactly 28-day cycle. It's sort of, again, like an average. A lot of women do, but a lot of women don't. Your cycle can be anywhere from like 24 days to 44 days. Optimally, you want your cycle to be between 27 and 31 days. If you're trying to conceive, if it's too short, that can be a problem, and if it's way too long, that can also be a sign of hormone imbalances. So you want it to be kind of in that vicinity of 28 days, but not everyone has that 28-day cycle. So again, tracking your cycle is really important. Another really big myth that I think catches a lot of women up is this idea that it's really easy to get pregnant. And if you're watching this, you probably already know that it's not that easy to get pregnant, but I want to tell you why. So first of all, a woman is really only fertile about 5 or 6 days a month. There are only those like 5 days that you can actually conceive on any given month. The rest of the month, you're not fertile. So that is one thing. The other thing is that a lot of women who go off of birth control, their bodies need a while to readjust. So I know we all have that friend that like went off birth control and got pregnant like 5 minutes later. But for most women, that doesn't happen. When you're on birth control, basically your sex hormones are suppressed. So it takes your body a while to kind of get back into its own rhythm after you stop taking birth control. And it also can take 3 or 4 months for those other hormones to work their way out of your system. So it might take several months in order for your body to kind of regulate, get back into having a regular cycle. And that definitely impacts, whether you're able to conceive right away. And I know that like we're all taught in high school sex ed that like getting pregnant takes about 5 minutes if you do it once, that sort of thing. But it's just not true. It takes a lot of things going right in order to actually conceive. And it takes the average couple about 6 months of active trying in order to get pregnant. And so I think a lot of women don't realize that, right? We kind of think like, oh, the first time we try, we should get pregnant. Oh, it didn't happen this month. The next month didn't happen again. And then we kind of start to freak out, right? There's sort of this panic like, oh my gosh, what if I can't get pregnant? And that's totally understandable, but it takes the average couple 6 months, which means it takes a lot of couples even longer. And doctors don't even, really consider it a problem until you've been actively trying for a year to conceive. And then they'll, kind of look at things and say like, well, there might be a problem. But it takes a year for our doctors to really be concerned. And it takes the average couple 6 months. So if you're still in that pre-6 month window, don't freak out. You've got, time. You're still in that sort of average space. Most couples do not get pregnant right away. So I think that's a really big myth that a lot of people don't know. I think there's this idea that it should happen right away, and it just doesn't for most people. But I think that creates this sort of unneeded stress for us if we are expecting it to happen immediately and it doesn't, and we think something's wrong, when really it just takes a few months sometimes. So those are some myths. I hope that they are helpful. I hope that busting those myths helps you kind of feel good about where you are, or at least have a better understanding of what's happening in your body. My goal is to empower you on your fertility journey. So I hope that this is useful. If there are other myths that you are curious about or questions you have, shoot them over to me at kate@katepotvin.com, and I'd be happy to chat about them more. So I'll talk to you guys next time.